Welcome to your daily dose of anime recaps, where we will be taking a look at the manga Rise from the Rubble. As always, let us know if you like more of these kinds of manga recaps with the like button, and be sure to subscribe so you're notified of the next time we upload. And with that, let's get into the recap. 8 years ago, City S had a monster wave outbreak. It was the greatest disaster that caused China to fall into the apocalypse. We follow the hero Zuo fan, the weakest Starfall warrior reserve. Wherever he goes, nasty murmurings follow him, gossiping about how he is the son of the traitor Zhu Huit. Because of this, he was expelled from school, ridiculed when trying to find a job. He was even denied from donating blood. Seeing as his father was someone who had risked his life and made countless contributions to the country, Zuo fan simply can't get himself to see his father as a traitor. In his desperation, Zuo fan started skipping ranks in order to accept mercenary missions. As the weakest Starfall Warrior Reserve member, he was seen as mere cannon fodder, but unbeknownst to the other fighters that looked down upon him, he had his own ways of surviving missions that he was too low of a rank to take on. Even in the most hopeless situations, he still made it out alive. He HASS to survive because he vowed to find out the truth and clear his family name. Since he is of age now, he pesters his dad for the truth that was promised to him when he was younger. He wants to know what really happened when his father reportedly abandoned his duty, for which he was sentenced to be executed, albeit his merits earned him a 10-year stay of execution. His father, however, refuses to explain what had happened all those years ago, saying that it's been judged quite clearly, to which he had pleaded guilty. He implores Zuo fan to leave City S and change his name along with his identity so he can live a life free of the crimes of his father. All he has to do is pretend he doesn't have a father like him, but Zuo fan doesn't believe it, claiming that his dad isn't the type of person to betray his duty like that. When he comes out of the visitation booth, the guards pester him, claiming that the visitation fee had gone up by 300%. Zuo fan is shocked, but the guards say it's out of their hands. Besides, they're lenient as it is, letting the son of the traitor visit at all. The $450 visit fee had put him at his limits, as is every month, so he doubts he'll be able to afford to visit his dad at all now. As he's walking out of the prison, he grabs his necklace for comfort. It's a necklace of a silver dragon gripping a blue gem, and it was given to him by his mother as a birthday present. It's said it's made from the meteor fragments from the night of the starfall 8 years ago. Since it's probably worth quite a lot, Zuo fan considers selling it in order to be able to keep visiting his father, but immediately stops that line of thinking. He'll just have to go find some higher-rank missions in the Mercenaries Guild. Back at the Mercenary Guild, he asks the man he knows working there, calling him Uncle Gao, if he could get some E-rank missions, but Gao refuses his request, saying that even an F-rank monster, Den Zuo fan would need to be a full-rank Starfall warrior, so as a reserve, he's lucky to have even survived as cannon fodder in the inn. When Zuo fan insists that he has no choice but to seek higher-rank missions, Uncle Gao finally relents and hands over an E-rank commission post that is looking for scouts to send into the monster den. Seeing that the reward for the successful mission is $3,000, Zuo fan thanks Uncle Gao, who simply warns him that the party going to that mission is pretty unusual, so Zuo fan should keep his guard up. After getting ready, he meets with the party, and the female team leader with a pink ponytail introduces herself as Mu Yinyue. Judging by her weapon and equipment, Zuo fan recognizes Mu Yinyue as an intermediate-rank Starfall warrior, which is unusual, since only novices usually bother with the ranked missions. In fact, her equipment includes monster cores, which can only be produced from defeating thousands of monsters, making just one of them priceless above imagination. These monster cores imbue her equipment and weapons to greatly increase the strength of a Starfall warrior. And not only are Mu Yinyue's stats as an intermediate Starfall warrior at least 4 times higher than Zuo fan's current stats, they seem to be the same age, making this young lady a prodigy. Zuo fan tries to introduce himself politely to the team leader, hoping these people don't immediately associate him with his father, but a man with slick back hair and squinting eyes named Mu Zi shakes his hand painfully, asking if he's the cannon fodder the Mercenary Guild had sent to help them. Before Zuo fan can respond, a white-haired gentleman berates Muza for bullying a Starfall warrior on reserve duty. Muza laughs the incident off and then launches the mission contract at Zuo fan's face, who catches it. Although the stunt was a bit rude, His reaction speed impresses the other team members and lets them know that he is as suitable for the scout mission Uncle Gale recommended him for. While the team members give him time to review the contract, Zuo Fan also has time to discreetly check out the other 6 team members, noting that the team is mostly made up of 4 novice ranks, while Mu Yinyue and the older man are intermediate ranks. This is exciting because it means that this E-rank mission will not only be a piece of cake, he will get to freeload his way to that $3,000 reward on the listing. While on their way to a monster den, one of the gathering places of monsters where the humans were forced to flee from their homes, Zuo Fan considers that most modern weapons not only have no effect on monsters, but some of the strongest monsters actually use bullets and poisons to mutate and strengthen themselves further. And since the monsters are able to kill each other, humanity had started using monster cores to enhance their cold weapons like swords, which is why the Starfall warriors that had such weapons were highly valued fighters. While sneaking through the monster den alone, Zuo Fan tries shooting one of his arrows through the eye of a tough-skinned amphibian-looking monster, but the monster blinked at the last moment, and the skin on its eyelid was just strong enough to make the arrow bounce off the monster harmlessly. The targeted monster then sounded the alarm, sending most of the monsters after an already fleeing Zuo Fan. However, baiting the monsters was his plan all along, although the intel greatly underestimated how quickly the monsters in this monster den can move. Aware of this monster's weak points, he waits for an opening and shoots at the monster's long tongue. However, his normal arrows, which are not infused with monster cores, were simply pushed out by the monster's regenerating tissue. In order to save his life, Zuo Fan makes a desperate dash for the exit, luckily making it out of the monster den alive. He reconsiders his strategies, deciding that regular arrows should only be used to pull monsters, because he doesn't have the money to spare on stronger weapons, even those imbued with monster cores. From E-rank enemies like these, he successfully leads the pursuing monster into an ambush set up by the other team members, and Mu Hanhu, the silver-haired Starfall warrior, blocks the monster's advance while Mu Yinyu slices its throat. However, even after it's been dissected in two, the monster still had some fight left in it, lunging at the heroes. Thinking that it's finally the cannon fodder's time to shine, Muzzy shoves Zuo Fan at the incoming monster. He manages to avoid the monster's attacking maw, shooting it through the eye with his wrist-mounted crossbow, giving Mo Yinyue an opening to finally cut the monster down. Just then, he hears a voice in his head, notifying him that he's slain an E-rank monster for the first time, and that the system is initiating and adapting to the host. While he's coming to grips with what that might mean, Mu Yinyue commands Muzi to clean up the monster's corpse and to look for its core. The man objects, saying that cleanup is not in his job description, but the team leader gives him a glare that lets the man know that she is aware of what the man had done earlier to their scout. Muza, however, tries picking a fight without a reason, commenting that it's too bad that with his body's aptitude, it'll be hard for Zuo Fan to become an intermediate rank in his lifetime, and that if he ever tries making any money as a mercenary, he'll have to remain cannon fodder and get carried by teams of stronger Starfall warriors his whole life. While the other mercenaries laugh along, Mu Yinyue and Mu Hanhu agree that the man is just salty about having to clean up the monster's remains. Later that night, Mu Yinyue approaches Zuo Fan, who is keeping watch, since he's not that useful in a fight and wants to make up for it by keeping a lookout. She objects, saying that protocol demands for 2 people to stand watch anyways, so she's just keeping to the rules. They make small talk, and Zuo Fan guesses from their accents that they're mercenaries from City J, which was the first one to be hit with the monster attacks, so he asks her what she and her brothers are doing in City Z, since there are more monster dens to take care of where they're from. Mu Yinyue starts explaining that it's the coming-of-age trial of their family, when she is cut off by the shifting earth beneath their feet, and they both fall into a sinkhole that opens up beneath them without warning. A figure watches their fall from the lip of the sinkhole. It turns out that the two have fallen into a railway tunnel, and Zuo Fan knows that it's almost impossible for them to have been unlucky for this to have happened while they were standing right on top of it. Mu Yinyue sidesteps the issue and asks him whether he happens to know a way out of the subway tunnels. Zuo Fan has helpfully memorized the entire area's layout before coming on this mission, including the layout of the subway tunnels beneath the city, so he leads her to one of the exits he's researched. Mu Yinyue suddenly stops in her tracks, announcing the approaching monsters, all E-rank, which she didn't see coming with her superior night vision, but due to her sword sense, a high-level ability. she possesses thanks to her high-end equipment. The monsters start streaming through the tunnels towards them, but the team leader has no problems with slicing the monsters apart easily. Zuo Fan wants to help, but the woman tells him to just stand back, and that with his inferior fighting skills, Zuo Fan will only end up being a dead weight. She immerses herself in a glowing aura, pushing the enemies back with her attacks easily, which only an advanced rank Starfall warrior should be able to do while outnumbered by several E-rank monsters. While Mu Yinyue is not looking, however, a head chopped off from a defeated monster still has enough velocity to reach Zhu Fan and latch itself on his bracer, but he kills it easily. The voice in his head lets him know that he's successfully defeated another E-rank monster, and that the system adaptation speed will increase, but he doesn't have time to consider this message. They arrived at the end of the corridor they were following, only to find that the exit they wanted to take had been blocked from the outside. Mu Yinyue is immediately suspicious of Zuo Fan because of this, pressing her sword to our hero's throat. Zuo Fan accuses her of venting her anger at the blocked exit at the cannon fodder, but she sheathes her weapon, saying that she was just testing it out, since these accidents have been too coincidental. Zuo Fan is shocked at her revelation, but she simply apologizes for dragging Zuo Fan into this, since she's the one being targeted. Zuo Fan realizes that this must be the result of a Starfall family infighting, which can be pretty brutal at times. Zuo Fan thinks of another exit out of the tunnels, thinking of the subway entrance that they had passed on their way to the dead end, having noticed some gaps in the blockage, meaning they should technically be able to get out through there. They take a short break on their way in order for Zuo Fan to catch his breath, and he blames it on the poor air in the tunnels, even though it clearly doesn't affect Miyonyu. While they rest, she asks him what is his motivation to have picked an E-rank mission if he's still only a Starfall warrior reserve member. Of course, he is in need of money, having only 2 years left before his father is executed, but he doesn't tell her that. Mu Yinyue immediately apologizes for her insensitivity, but Zuo Fan simply gets up, having rested enough. After a short while, they finally reach the exit, appearing in the street once again, but within moments of reaching the open sky again, they are suddenly assaulted by a multitude of arrows coming from above. Mu Yinyue throws herself at Zuo Fan in order to get both of them behind cover, but she gets a poisoned arrow in her back for her efforts. Zuo Fan quickly treats the wound and hands her an antidote. It turns out that both of her family members that were with them on this mission have betrayed her. After a short monologue about what a small thing a betrayal is in a world filled with monsters, her uncle Mu Hanhu triggers an explosion, checking with Muzzy that the monsters from a nearby river have all been lured nearer to clean up whatever is left after the explosion. They will just go back and tell everyone that the son of the traitor had ambushed the Mu family prodigy, and they both died after a monster ambush. Luckily, Zuo Fan and Mu Yinyue managed to turn back to the tunnels that they came from just before the explosion hit. But the problem was that they were now again in the monster-infested underground. After smelling the monster lure mixed with the poison on the arrow, they both realized that Mu Yinyue's death would be blamed on Zuo Fan, meaning that in revenge, the Mu family would most likely campaign against his father's stay of execution. The monsters attack, but Mu Yinyue is just about able to hold them back while Zuo Fan searches his memory for any other possible exits to the tunnels. He thinks of another blocked entrance that they might be able to break through again, and they make a break for it. All the while, Zuo Fan is aware that with every passing moment, even the antidote might not work anymore if Mu Yinyue doesn't have a chance to take it soon. They reach the possible exit, feeling wind coming through the gaps in the blocked opening, but they were also followed by the monsters from the tunnel. Mu Yinyue proposes keeping the monsters busy herself, while Zuo Fan escapes, since this all happened because of her, and the monster lure in her blood will just keep attracting more monsters anyways, so she won't be able to escape them no matter what. Before Zuo Fan can object, she launches herself into the midst of monsters, while Zuo Fan begins clearing the rubble and trying to think of a way for them to escape with their lives. The entrance has been cleared, but he also had the chance to set up a wire trap between him and the monsters, which Mu Yinyue slides underneath safely. The monsters, not noticing the wires, barrel straight into them, collapsing the tunnel as the trap is triggered. They both make it out alive and try catching their breath when Mu Yinyue's sword alerts them to even more incoming monsters. Even worse, the poison, the injuries, and the exhaustion had finally caught up to Mu Yinyue, and she collapsed on the ground, telling Zuo Fan to run for his life. Zuo Fan grabs her and her drop sword, angry that he hasn't even taken down an E-rank monster by himself yet, and screams at the monsters to come at him. A nearby monster needs no more incentive than that, and lunges at the duo, and Zuo Fan decapitates it smoothly. But the monster's head still manages to attack with its tongue, piercing Zuo Fan's chest. As he falls back, mentally apologizing to his father for not being able to clear his name like he promised, a voice rings in his head once more, informing him that after killing 3 E-rank monsters, the energy gathering has been complete, and that the War God system has been activated. Another, separate notification announces that the host is on the verge of death, and that emergency treatment should be administered immediately. The previous message before this one continues saying that upon the activation of the War God system, 100 stat points will be distributed to the host, which will be automatically distributed between Zuo Fan's mind, physique, strength, and agility stats. Zuo Fan suddenly came back to the street where he died, but the wound in his chest had healed completely. However, the fish lizard monsters have not retreated and are converging on Miyinu's prone body. However, just by sitting up, Zuo Fan gets their attention, and the surrounding monsters charge at him. But our hero dodges all of the monsters easily. He notices that the sword seems to be radiating an infinite source of power. Upon appraisal, he learns that the sword was imbued with the monster core of an E-rank monster, and it also raises the user's strength. After his upgrade, Zuo Fan learns that he can use the sword easily now, and slaying one monster after the other is child's game. Taking care of 2 monsters at the same time with his skills and newfound power, he believes he is near the top among the novice-rank Starfall warriors. But then a notification urges him to focus on the enemies as he is still in a battle. Taunting the monsters, he attacks them straight on and is immersed in his new power, excited. He can fight them head-on and not hide in the back of a party. A spark of hope ignites in him that he will finally be able to take control of his own destiny. After clearing out the monsters, a notification of his stats asks him to distribute stat points. But he puts it on hold as he notices the lying Mu Yinue. The pile of monster corpses will keep others at bay for a time, so his priority now is to treat the poison and the monster lure in Mu Yinue's body. He unbuttons her shirt to deal with the wound and to cover it up with the smell of other drugs made from other monsters and mutated plants. He uses a drug made out of a skunk monster, and as it smells so bad, many monsters choose to avoid it. He finally rests for a short time after cleaning up her wound, covering the smell, and bandaging her up. Before he starts planning the escape, he decides to discover what happened to him. The beautiful meteorite fragment necklace is now gone, supposing it turned into the War God system. Simply by the system activating his stats, raised a lot and his injuries have been healed up. Again, the notification of assignable stat points pops out. Zuo Fan asks the system to explain itself, but it doesn't respond. Getting mad, he luckily figures out that all he has to do to operate the War God system is use his mind. Assigning 2 stat points to strength, he already feels a drastic change in handling the sword. He feels like he's cheating after assigning the rest of his stat points. To test out his new strength, Zuo Fan lures in a monster with bait, distracts it, and easily pierces its body, ending it in one move. The feeling of being strong makes him invigorated. He gained another 3 stat points to allocate. Calculating the amount of left monsters with the stat points gain, he concludes he will receive a whooping 150 stat points, putting him at advanced Starfall warrior level. He calmed himself down, and with the 3 stat points he first broke into the intermediate Starfall warrior level. That is considered parallel with breaking into a higher realm. Leaving a trail of fish monster bodies in his path, Zuo Fan calculates how much money his loot of fangs and scales will bring him. Dragging the Starfall sword up the rocks, he attracts more monsters. They attack him, but it is useless as he is now too fast for them. In the blink of an eye, he takes his 16 Thea and 17 fish monster. But he was too naive as now he only receives 1 stat point per monster kill. But still, with his current strength, he should be able to escape the subway tunnel with Mu Yinue without much problems. Following the rail tracks, he comes upon a flooded area which contains a mutated monster. A giant 2-headed lizard, a fusion of 2 different monster species. Its power and danger levels are increased by multiple times. The 2-headed lizard easily takes out 3 fish monsters at the same time and feasts on their smelly insides. Witnessing its power, Zuo Fan chooses to retreat and tends to Mu Yinue again. Without her help, He is not able to take out the two-headed lizard behind which is the only exit. Choosing to find another exit, they might end up running into Mohanhu. Just as he is cleaning up Ma Yinyu's wound above her chest, she wakes up with a deadly stare. With a blade to his throat, he explains everything that happened. She commends him for hiding his true strength, but he also hid the war god system from her. Explaining his father as the former military commander, she understood why he supposedly hid his true strength. Ma Yinyue apologizes for the family infighting, but Zuofan brushes it aside and takes her to the two-headed monster. The monster is a fusion of a gator and a fish lizard. The former is used for defense and close-range fight, while the latter's long tongue takes care of threats from a distance. Also, it does not possess the weaknesses of the fish monsters. To break through its strong skill, Mu Yinyue will have to activate her Starfall equipment. To activate the strongest part of the Starfall equipment, one must resonate with the monster core embedded in the weapon and generate a sword light. It will increase the sharpness of the blade. She demonstrates it with a dagger and a pile of scavenged fish monster skin. There goes Zuofan's loot. But the monster core will break after a few uses, as it's an extreme level of power. That is why she used the dagger and not the Starfall sword, their trump card. Because of her injury, Zuofan must learn to unleash the true power of the Starfall sword. Within only 3 days, to form a resonance with the monster core, one must spend a lot of time in battle with it. So Zuofan is sent out to fight the fish monsters. Mu Yinyue has high hopes for him, even though the ones with talent can grasp the skill in half a year, while the majority will never achieve that in their lifetime. But she believes he is a prodigy. Even after fighting for half a day, Zuofan feels no closer to the resonance. But they only have 3 days, as the consequences of Mu Yinyue not attending the Mu family heir ceremony could be disastrous, which might also impact his father. As Mu Yinyue relies on Zuofan, he relies on the War God system. Luckily for them, the War God system detects an unactivated Starfall sword. By spending 10 stat points, he has the option to activate it. By saying goodbye to the stat points he grinded for half a day, the Starfall sword activates and a glowing aura envelopes it and Zuofan. Cutting through the fish monster's skin, like tofu, Mu Yinyue is in shock. He managed to resonate in only half a day. But her face of shock and amazement quickly turns to one of disappointment and prejudice. Zuofan overexerted himself and was not ready for the drawbacks of the awesome power. She gives him a potion and, with a light smile, thanks the dummy in her mind. It was finally time to take care of the two-headed monster. Aiming for its fish head, Zuofan dodges attack after attack, but the monster's tail swipe speed catches him off guard, blasting him in a nearby wall. Bruised and bloody, he dodges the gator head's strong bite, but he gets swiped by the tongue and is forced to hide for a moment. He was too cocky. Mu Yinyue pleads with him to retreat for now, as he cannot defeat the two-headed monster with his skills now. This monster is basically a boss which excels at close, mid, and long-range attack and defense. But he cannot retreat, as in less than 3 days he will be framed with murder and his father will probably be given a death sentence. A memory of his father vowing to rid the world of all monsters to avenge his mother's death flashes before him. Dodging out of his cover, the War God system detects his wish to fight to the death, to escape and find out the truth, activating an innate skill perception. It is a skill able to sense all changes within a 10-meter radius. A radar-like image scans his 10-meter radius and shows him his back view. The two-headed monster is right behind him. Seeming that the monster slowed down, he uses this chance to attack. The only way to kill the monster is to cut off its 2 heads at the same time. But Zuofan did more than that. It also cut off its tail, making it unable to attack or defend at all. Ma Yinyue can't believe what she just saw. Standing tall over the monster's corpse was Zuofan, who obtained 3 stat points and 2 E-rank mutant monsters cores. The two managed to exit the subway and were on their way to the monster den's exit. Zuofan carries Miyunyu because of her injuries, so she thanks him again. But since they have gone through life and death together, he tells her to stop thanking him so much, as they are no longer strangers. They have grown closer, and he even no longer calls her Miss Yinyue. But just as they shared a wonderful moment, the sky shines with a flurry of arrows. Muzi and a bunch of his henchmen have come to wait for the two should they be able to escape. Uncle Hanhu took into account that she might be able to return to the surface due to her strength. After exchanging threats, Muzi sends 2 of his henchmen to deal with the cannon fodder rat. But the rat has transformed into a cat and swiftly took out the 2 henchmen. Zuo Fan challenges Muzi and sets Mu Yinyu down. Muzi and the henchmen are shocked at his strength, but the arrogant Muzi rallies his men to use long-range weapons to deal with him, not believing that Zuo Fan could have become so strong. By using his perception skill, Zuo Fan is able to destroy the incoming arrows and use their fragments to take out the two henchmen on the higher platform, while basically teleporting in past the the ground and in front of Muzi. Not wanting to sleep with the fishes, Muzi runs as fast as he can for his petty life, but he cannot outrun Zuo Fan. Like black static lighting, he catches up to him and cuts off his right arm. Muzi drops to the floor and begs for his life, but it was a feint as he picks up an arrow thinking he had a chance at winning. Zuo Fan saw through his plans and swiftly ended him. Zuo Fan, again carrying Mu Yinyu with his strong body, finally exits the monster den. The real Mu family rescue team finally reaches them, and Mu and the family butler greets Mu Yinyu with great delight upon seeing she made it out safely. Mu Yinyu gives Zuo Fan her contact information to find her when he visits Jinhai City. They part ways as she yells out of the jeep's window to not forget to find her. But the butler is displeased and cannot believe she gave Zuo Fan her contact information and even her Starfall sword to keep. Believing she is too simple, he is sure that Zuo Fan tricked her. Mu Hanhu finds the leftovers of Muzi and his men vowing to never forgive the two he tried to end. The scene shifts to a helicopter landing on Jiangbi City's prison. Out of the helicopter step out what looks like two high-ranking officials. The warden greets them and brings them to Zuo Hui's prison cell. Upon seeing the prisoner, a sinister smile flashes through the high-ranking official's face. At the same time, Zuo Fan arrives at the prison to finally find out the truth about his father when a loud noise from above forces his attention to the skies. Through the night sky, a large helicarrier obstructs the view of the stars. On this floating prison are China's most heinous criminals, Sky Prison. Zuo Fan quickly realizes that the only reason the Sky Prison, from which no prisoner has ever come back alive, is here, is for his father. Passing all the guards, Zuo Fan reaches the roof in time. He fights through the guards, but the female high-ranking official blocks his path. Due to his perception skill, he was able to block her handblade. The feat astonished her. They exchange blows, but she is at a higher level than him. Zuo Fan is only able to keep up due to his perception skill. His father has an inkling on what might have happened that his son has become so strong now. As a last resort, Zuo Fan activates the resonance, which causes a mighty explosion on the prison's rooftop. The two fighters are unscathed as their Starfall equipment protected them. But the Starfall sword has now been overused and its core has crumbled. The high-ranking official applauded his strength and is entertained by it, so he gives the father and son a minute to bid their farewells. Zuo Fan's father is proud of his son and is finally willing to tell the truth about the fall of S City. But to get the evidence, Zuo Fan must go to Jinning City and retrieve a locked safe deposit box in the base's restricted area. After the exchange, the helicopter flies away to the Sky Prison and Zuo Fan is left all alone on the rooftop. Zuo Fan wakes up to the sound of an alarm clock, but the poor alarm clock that hurt nobody got crushed under his fist. He still cannot fully control his strength. Then he receives a call from Uncle Gao. He quickly gets to the Mercenary Guild, where Uncle Gao has his stuff and paperwork for going to Jinning City ready. He is both troubled that Zuo Fan hid his strength, but is at the same time glad as he is resembling his father more. He also gives him the Novice Starfall Warrior certificate. He can only take the intermediate exam after 3 months. Uncle Gao gives him a few last warnings and tips about Jinning City, as the military there is more heavily guarded and getting in and out is not so easy. Zuo Fan thanks him for all the help through the years, and they bid their farewells, promising each other that they will meet again. Zuo Fan leaves the city in 5 days. That gives him some time to prepare to pick up his busted Starfall sword. While making a plan about also training and developing some intermediate martial art techniques, he gets a call from Li Wei. He invites Zuo Fan to a get-together with his girlfriend Lu Jia. Zuo Fan gladly accepts and offers to treat the two this time. Li Wei was the only friend he had after his father's incident. He has really been there for him, from defending him from bullies, treating him to delicious treats, and even renting a house under his own ID. Zuo Fan exited the train at Jiangbi Trading Center and used his perception to detect 2 novice Starfall warriors. It is an incredibly useful skill being able to inspect other people's strengths, but it seems to only work on levels equal or lower than his. At the trading center, Zuo Fan sells his fish monster materials he brought back from the monster den, earning him a whooping $31,000. E-rank monster cores go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. If there would be a market or demand for a mutated monster core of a two-headed monster gator, he could probably make millions. Zuo Fan notices Lugia that works at the trading center. She is a novice Starfall warrior, but decides not to disturb her during work. He will meet her at dinner anyways. He proceeds with his intention of reforging his Starfall sword, but the personnel unfortunately turn him away, as there are not any advanced blacksmiths in town that can handle a mutated E-rank monster core. But a mysterious figure overhears them and becomes intrigued. The lady comes rushing after Zuo Fan to rejoice him with good news. This time Zuo Fan is the presumptuous one, thinking that the lady Zhu Nyan standing in front of him, who is only 20 years old, is an assistant of the advanced blacksmith. She asks him to hand over the core for appraisal, but he refuses and calls out her behavior, or rather, the advanced blacksmith's behavior, as rude, sending an assistant. She flashes him the advanced blacksmith certificate. She offers that if the core is fully intact, she will only charge the material fee and not the reforge fee. He apologizes and pulls out the core in a small silver box. The small, beautiful gem shines in the sunlight, and a small image of the creature could be seen inside it. The advanced blacksmith can discern only from the state of the core that the battle with the monster was fierce, and that it was not ambushed or poisoned to death. She accepts the job, but now expects for the real owner of the core to step forward, and the karma comes full circle. Zhu Nyan tries calling him out, but he persists, so she decides to take things a step forward. She takes him to the forge where many metalworkers are hammering and banging away, but only the ones able to craft a Starfall equipment can be given the title of a blacksmith. She quickly forges the body of the sword as expected of an advanced blacksmith. Now comes the core's owner part. When the core is fused with the Starfall weapon, all the energy from within will come bursting out, and a powerful Starfall warrior, at best, the one who killed the monster, must be at the scene to absorb the energy. If the energy is too much and they fail to suppress it, they will most certainly perish. She taunts him to stop putting on a brave act and call a parent or a guardian to take over. But he is stubborn as the real owner of the core. The core and the Starfall sword float and in a burst of energy fuse together. The energy of the monster core materializes in its true form, but Zuo Fan quickly suppresses it. Now she is convinced that he is the one who killed the fierce monster. She apologizes for doubting his ability based on his age and ID, but he does not mind as shortly before he did the same. The reforge was complete, and the notifications informed him that the stats of the Starfall sword had risen. Now it increases the user's strength and agility by 40 points, and it gains a new attribute, E-rank penetration. Zhu Nyan addresses him again, asking him to call her Big Sis since she is older than him. Seeing his refusing face, she offers to give him a 30% discount on all future Starfall equipment crafting with her. He folds immediately. Obviously, she also has her own agenda and wishes to advance to Master Blacksmith, and believes that with Zuo Fan providing her with many mighty monster core, she will be able to achieve it. She pampers him more by giving him one of her 3 black card VIP quotas. With this card, he can receive discount benefits at any trading center in the country. She then goes on ahead as she has other matters to attend. Zuo Fan puts the card to work immediately to go to the weapons testing area. At the testing area, one can spar against Star Martial Trainers. To become one, you must possess at least an F-rank Starfall weapon. The head trainer Tanji is informed of a customer with a black card, and based on the weapon being infused with an E-rank monster core reforge, he is the only one who can spar with him. The testing area got closed for everyone else, and Zuo Fan is brimming with positivity as his weapon is now no less valuable than a D-rank Starfall equipment. So he guesses the streaks of his opponent will be an advanced Starfall warrior. The trainer Dagi introduces himself, and they get in positions. Zuo Fan knew who he was as 3 years ago. There was a small monster wave outbreak in the city, and Tanji slayed close to 100 E-rank monsters. His aura is as intense as the female's high official. But that doesn't scare him, as he wants to see what the power gap between him and an advanced Starfall warrior is now. Zuo Fan, overconfident in his agility, dives straight in, but Tanji successfully blocks his attacks by spinning his giant X. Using his skill perception, he finds an opening, but it was a trap, and Tanji blasts him away and nearly makes him out of bounds of the arena. Zhu Nyan observes the duel and is proud of her little brother. Tanji then urges Zuo Fan to unleash the full power of his weapon to do the thing intended, as it is a testing area. To motivate him, he unleashes his giant axe aura. Zuo Fan responds in kind and his sword glows like blue moonlight. The two mighty forces clash and the penetration skill of Starfall Sword is activated, scratching Tan Ji. Unconsciously, the combat skill Glayaxe Mountain Destroyer is activated in response to the attack, creating a fiery whirlwind pushing Zuo Fan back. Tan Ji, now standing on a broken field, cannot believe he used an E-rank combat skill against him. The testing area doors finally open, and a personnel comes groveling to Tan Ji spouting nonsense about Zuo Fan. But Tan Ji does not let himself get influenced. He fought Zuo Fan and the weapon and understands that it's not just the core that counts, but also the wielder. When Zuo Fan exits with Zhu Nian, Tan Ji comes to apologize to him for using his combat skill and offers to pay for any medical fees should he be hurt. Zuo Fan is pleasantly surprised by his kindness. Tan Ji gives him some advice to train an E-rank sword technique in order to bring out the weapon's full power, as Zuo Fan's skill in wielding it is still pretty rough. Su Nian suggests that he name the sword and leave a mark that way at the trading center. Zuo Fan agrees as he believes that an outstanding sword also needs an equally outstanding name. He named it Bone Piercer. A fitting name, as the attack from that sword, if Zuo Fan used an E-rank combat skill, would have chopped off Tan Ji's arm. Zuo Fan wonders about the trading center a bit, checking out the users, and is kind of disappointed and expects Jinning City to have more powerful people around. Then he hears a familiar voice. It was like Wei defending his girlfriend Lu Jia. Three shady brothers accused her of stealing their monster core, wanting to lay their smelly, slimy hands on her to search her Li Wei steps between them to protect her. As he is about to get punched in the face, Zuo Fan heroically steps in and intercepts it. He punches one of the brothers away and the other two try ganging up on him. However, they of course stood no chance against him, as they were only newly broken through novice ranks. Picking up each other's weak, broken bodies, they started shouting nonsense and lies about the trading center until Tan Ji stepped in and approached Zuo Fan, asking him if he needed any help. The three brothers get the beating they deserve, as they had enough offenses in the past that will land them in a prison for 2 years. Tan Ji's men go ham on them. Lu Jia barely recognizes Zuo Fan as he has changed so much. The trio go to a nice dinner and make a toast. But Zuo Fan is troubled by his secret. Li Wei is his best friend after all, and he does not want to lie to him, but he cannot tell him about the war god system either. At least, not yet. Luckily, Li Wei does not press the matter, and Zuo Fan is grateful that he trusts him so much. After a nice time, when the city lights are buzzing in the night, the trio part ways as Zuo Fan is ready to leave for Jinning City. All of Jinning's monster dens are located inside the Ghost Rain Mountain, and it's the densest gathering of monster dens in southern China. The Ghost Rain military base is protected by a hexagonal force field dome, but that won't stop Zuo Fan, who is already scouting for a way in. But it will be tougher than it seemed, as even a preoccupied guard managed to almost spot him from far away. As Jinning has the densest gathering of monster dens, that also means it had to become the strongest combat force in the south, with the renowned Jinning Mercenary Guild at the center of its combat force. The strength of the Jinning Mercenary Guild is enough to deal with a small monster wave outbreak without the help of the military. Putting the idea of infiltrating such a powerful military base on the back burner, Zuo Fan heads for the Mercenary Guild. Inside, he meets Ru Ji, a blue-haired braided young girl that works there as a bartender but is also an intermediate Starfall warrior. She makes him a drink and says she will recommend her to some of the familiar parties to go on hunting missions together with him. His true goal is to hunt for information. But in the 10 days he has been here, he has not gotten anything useful. But his luck is about to change as an important announcement gets everyone's attention. The military wants to work together with the Mercenary Guild and the Starfall families in a joint operation. The rewards are crazy good, from big buck to even combat skill selections. But the one part of the announcement that got Zuo Fan's attention is that the top 10 participants will receive an offer to work for the Ghost Rain military base as security consultants, and the big. With the high density of monster dens in the area and the mutation progress caused by the Night of the Starfall, the joint operations are periodically organized, where the military Mercenary Guild and Starfall families join up to deal with the rapid increase of monsters and monster outbreak waves. In these large-scale hunts, the rewards are much more bountiful. Everyone in the room is humming and brimming with excitement, and so is Zuo Fan, as this is the perfect opportunity to gain access to the military base without causing troubles for himself or anyone else. A loudspeaker calls up, willing participants up to the second floor for the signing process. Since this will basically be a large-scale battle, they must sign a life-and-death contract. There will be casualties. Ruji is worried about him, as he is only a novice rank, and asks Pandai, a small, round-faced boy, to protect him. But do not let his looks deceive you. He is obviously strong, as he is the son of the Mercenary Association president, Pu Heo, and is an intermediate Starfall warrior. But he does not want to protect a man. If it was a pretty lady, that would be a different story, though. To bring him to do her bidding, she promises him to introduce him to her little sister, who is way prettier than her, when she visits Jinning City. The boy is ready to switch sides immediately, but he is still a boy and way too naive, as she is an only child. Zuo Fan and other participants board upon a heavily armored and armed metro car. After the night of Starfall, the connections between cities throughout the country had collapsed as there were monsters about. It was rebuilt in the past few years, but the tickets are extremely high-priced because of the danger and the upkeep. On their way, they even come across a D-rank monster, a menacing and powerful-looking eagle fox. They arrive at the Ghost Rain Mountain entrance camo, where they disembark. From a high office, Wei Chen Shan, Ghost Rain Military Base Chief Instructor, President Pu Pan of the Mercenary Guild Association, and Elder Li Zong, Lai family patriarch, discuss the situation and praise each other's sons who will take part in this mission. Those two are Li Hongwu of the Lai family, who is an advanced Starfall warrior, and Panda the boy from before, who is an intermediate Starfall warrior. But the two old foxes were simply and obviously only buttering each other up. The operation begins, and Zuofan is zooming through the forest of many open space monster dens, all mixed and jumbled together. The points for the operation are rewarded as follows. Defeating an F-rank monster is 1 point, E-rank monster is 10 points, and a D-rank monster is 100 points. Zuofan cannot relax until he reaches at least 600 points in 3 days, as the lowest score of the top 10s in the previous operations were all higher than 500 points. He reaches a quiet former living area, now full with ghostly and ruined buildings. Suddenly, he senses an oncoming attack and manages to dodge a rain of rocks. A myriad of rainrock spider emerge on his location. These monsters are F-rank with poisonous webs and fangs, but their true strength lies in numbers and the ability to overwhelm their prey. They are nesting monsters, and a single nest can contain hundreds to thousands of them. This abandoned town is now a rainrock spider nest. Zuofan remains cool and relishes at the thought of a large number of stat points from clearing this nest out. He easily deals with many rainrock spiders, but they yield little in terms of stat points, giving him only 9. Since they are territorial, there also aren't any other monsters nearby in the area. Using the Willow Steps maneuvering technique he learned in Jiangbi Trading Center, he easily dealt with some more of the rainrock spiders. In the area nearby, some shady figures are hunting Pandy, who is hiding up in the trees with an injured leg. He was ambushed, led into a trap by someone who is familiar with his habits. Exiting the woods, he stumbles upon the rainrock spider nest. He can't deal with them with his current injuries and becomes a scaredy cat. But luckily, Zuofan saves him and mistakes him for a random kid. They take shelter in a nearby building, and based on the taken care of rainrock spiders, Pandai does not believe that Zuofan is just a novice rank. Zuofan suggests that Pandy waits here for the rescue team, as he won't be able to continue with the operation. Pandy takes offense to that and tries to threaten him with his family status. But since Zuofan has been here for less than half a month, he has no idea who the kid is, so it does not work on him. Pandy wants him to protect him, as he cannot escape his assassins at the time. So he tries to convince him by offering him an E-rank maneuvering technique called Willow Blossom's Flash. Zuofan is skeptical as to how could a chubs like him move swiftly? Well, he is not fat, just sturdy according to him. Zuofan recalls that the Mercenary Association president is named Pu Heo, which would make him his father. Pandiar Pupapao explains he is hunted by assassins, and as a sign of goodwill, automatically transfers the skill to Zuofan. With his War God system, he can easily appraise the skill. The smug Pandy believes Zuofan is shocked, as such a skill goes for at least $150.0. Zuofan makes a deal with him, and after he is done with clearing the nest, he will take Panda deeper into the Ghost Rain Mountain where it's safer. But just as they shake hands in agreement, 2 scythes on chains shatter through the window and launch at them. Zuofan skillfully deflects them. 3 figures that look like futuristic ninjas confront them. Now Zuo Fan is also involved in the assassination. Pandy offers to hold them back with his shield and axe so he can get out and tell his father what happened to avenge him. As the ninjas taunt him, Panda calls them the dogs of the Lai family. The apparently dumb one of the three is surprised how he recognized them even though they covered themselves up. But he was obviously tricking them into revealing their identity. Zuo Fan is familiar with the Li name as his father, Zuo Hui, saved their bald elderly Zong, who ended up stabbing his rescuer in the back. Zuo Fan is fired up to get a taste of revenge. One dog of the Lai family thought he could attack him from the back, but he was mistaken and was quickly cut over the chest and shoulder for his foolishness. They regroup but are not particularly strong. Intermediate Starfall warriors, all three using F-rank Starfall equipment. As long as no allies show up, they should be able to go down without much trouble. Zuo Fan activates his perception skill and Willow steps to strike at them first. A fierce battle of 1 versus 3 commences, but the three dogs prove to be more trouble than it first seemed. Zuo Fan intends to activate his monster core, but they won't let him as they barrage him with an endless barrage of arrows and scythes. The Willow steps prove to be too slow to protect both him and Pandai. Zuo Fan even gets injured. However, Pandai starts array destroying the three dogs' flow of attacks as they run after him. Zuo Fan uses that moment of distraction and panic of their target getting away alive to take out the number 2 dog. In retaliation, Zuo Fan almost gets pierced by an arrow. As the remaining dogs bite at him, the War God system offers him to exchange 10 stat points to activate Willow Blossom Flash. He makes the trade, and his legs have suddenly become much lighter. Using his newfound speed, he simply cuts off an arm of one of the dogs. Their leader aims to attack him from behind, but whilst perception is activated, Zuo Fan can see their every move. He could do so all this time, just his body was not fast enough to react. Glass shatters, and the building shakes as Zuo Fan takes care of the 2 dogs of the Lai family. Pandy is pale as a ghost. After all, Zuo Fan did just end 3 intermediate Starfall warriors by himself, even learning Willow Blossom Flash in the process of it. A peerless genius. Pandy praises his strength, believing he should aim for the first place in the joint operation. Since Li Hongwu is also aiming for first place, he believes that the assassination plot had probably something to do with him. Meanwhile, somewhere on Ghost Rain Mountain Lai, Hongwu unleashes a powerful attack, taking down a large 2-headed snake. His henchmen inform him they lost contact with the 3 assassins, but can confirm that Pandy is heavily injured and won't make it in the top 10. Li Hongwu is pleased and aims to set a new record that will proclaim him as the #1 genius in Jinning. The night is over and Zuo Fan and Panda bolt through the forest. On their path, they take care of an E-rank monster vine python and collect its healing gall and its fangs. As they continue running, Pandy assures him that he will get first place. Zuo Fan wonders if there is a special prize involved for the first place since both Li Hongwu and Pandy are so keen on getting it. Pandy reveals the existence of alien artifacts. Only discovered a couple of years ago, they come from mutated plants, which mutate way slower than animals and humans. The alien artifact can be used to greatly increase the strength of a Starfall warrior. It is of course extremely rare, therefore so much more coveted. But in order to reach first place, they will have to find many monsters and Zuo Fan is worried if they will be able to make it in less than 3 days. Then they reach a beautiful open plain with a contrasting, strong smell of blood. Broken blade iron fur wolves, at least 100, approach them. Pandy proudly declares it is a secret location that their mercenary association found. Zuo Fan is eager to start the hunt. Pandy serves as a tank while Zuo Fan takes care of them and racks up points. But they are soon outnumbered and retreat for the time being. While the two are grinding, Li Hongwu and his other 2 teams have counted up to 932 points. They will definitely reach over 1,000 points by the end of the operation. Li Hongwu is cheating by using 2 additional teams. Night falls and the fire crackles as Zuo Fan and Pandy rest. Zuo Fan finished counting and they got 1,014 points. They had broken the previous record, but he is worried since Li Hongwu is cheating. They can only grind for more or hope that the Li family is caught and punished by the military. As they discuss their standing and eat a sensation, a warning of danger shakes Zuo Fan. In the shadows, a pair of bright red eyes gaze at them. It's a Moonblade Steel Fur Wolf King, an evolved form of the Iron Fur Wolf, a D-rank monster. But there is more trouble on the horizon. Since its silver mane is spotted with gold, It means it's about to evolve again soon. It is a D-rank king monster, the top of the D-rank monsters. The wolf roars and pounces on them, and their only choice is to run away. But it's no use as the monster is too fast. What's worse, even the bone piercer cannot penetrate its fur. It attacks with its horn, and Zuo-fan has no choice but to increase his Willow Blossom Flash skill in order to evade the attack. And a good thing too, as the attack left a hole in the mountain rock. He wishes to upgrade the skill again, but the upgrade is on a cooldown. The War God system is not so OP after all. As an alternative, he invests his stat points into agility but hits a cap wall. They cannot be increased further until he reaches the Starfall Warlord rank. Panda begs him to run, but Zuo-fan wants to test the results. He is now able to dodge the monster with relative ease and even counterattack. He even manages to pepper-puff but to no avail as the monster regenerates in a moment. Caught off guard, he gets sliced on the chest and retreats as fast as he can. They manage to shake off the terrifying king monster, but ran into a team of murderers. They were small fries, and the dynamic duo took care of them easily, especially after being called a twink and a crippled fat little pig. They knocked them out and took all their loot and points. Their luck does not end there, though. They came across some corpses, and it was a trap. The Lai family's twin serpents, two identical young men who grind points for Li Hongwu. They are both advanced Starfall warriors, with also 3 offensive type archers backing them in a terrifying formation. The twin serpents attack Zuo-fan in a pincer attack, but luckily Pandy had his back. By using Perception and Willow Blossom Flash, Zuo-fan managed to carry away Pandy and hide behind some trees nearby. The twin brothers, like King and Lychee, call out to them, promising to let Zuo-fan live if he hands them Panda. Pandy seems to have lost hope, as he doesn't want Zuo-fan to put his life on the line for him. However, it is his business, as the Lai family accused his father. Also, it seems that our hero has a plan in mind. He taunts and disrespects the Lai family name. The twins attack again, not giving another chance of handing Pandy over. A fierce fight of dodging and running ensues. However, Zuo-fan is too quick even for them. They reconsider should they chase them, as they might be late for the joint operations point calculation. But after Zuo-fan throws a bottle at them that sprays them with a disgusting smell, they are blinded by fury. The two escape into a valley, and their pursuers think they have won as this is the only path in the valley. However, a familiar red glare stops them in their tracks. It's the Moonblade Steelfer. Wolf King. The pursuer and the prey's positions instantly switched. The twins and the archers quickly get into formation as Zuo-fan and Pandy observe from above. The Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King is too much for them to handle. It really is a king monster about to evolve. It's even intelligent as it prioritized the archer. Just as it seemed that things went south and that the hunting team would meet their end, they unveiled their trump card. One of the twins spins a golden rope around the Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King legs and plunges it down to the ground with immense force. It's a monster restraining rope, made by combining D-rank monsters' core and its tan tendons. It's used when dealing with high-ranked monsters. The Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King on the ground lets out a terrifying howl as the twins use their combo attack, Twin Serpent Rotational Execution. Even though the wolf is heavily injured, bleeding all over it, unleashes one final attack against the twins. Its golden blade horn glows and launches at the two, piercing their chests. A moment of disbelief for the two remaining archers, as their captain and vice-captain are lying on the floor. Zuo-fan and Pandy take out the two archers, and the former launches at the beaten Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King, penetrating its eyes. The twins, barely standing, try to launch a sneak attack, but Zuo-fan pierces them with his arrows. The troublesome duo finally died after vowing to hunt them, even as ghosts. The Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King is more resilient than it looked as it jumped on its legs and ran away as the two gave chase after it towards its cave. But before it could reach it, it collapsed and died from its injuries. The two are over the moon as basically every part of the Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King is worth millions. And they got a monster restraining rope out of it as well. After taking the points from the twins, they will definitely break the record and reach first place. They enter the cave in search of valuable items, but they discover the decaying remains of monsters from infighting from long ago. An eerie feeling crosses them as they see Moonblade Steelfer Wolf King claw marks on the wall. It looked like it wanted to reach the top. Panda, being too injured, urged Zuo-fan to climb to the top on its own, and see if maybe the cause of the infighting was up there. On top of the cave, Zuofan discovered a large mutated tree guarded by many D-rank monsters, eagle foxes. He speculates that the tree might have an alien artifact. The aura it emits could be one of a warlord rank monster. He cannot hope to achieve anything here before he becomes warlord level himself. The scene shifts to the Ghost Rain Mountain Camp entrance. The 3-day countdown has ended. The joint operation has come to an end, and the tallying of the points has begun. Jizan, a member of Jinning City's military, and Li Hongwu, one of the 3 major contenders for first place, have returned. And an unsuspecting duo also makes their return. They got extremely lucky. If not for the monster restraining rope and the 2 E-rank swords of the twin brothers, they wouldn't make it back in time without swinging their way back. Pandy explains to Zuofan more about Jizan, the military prodigy. As he excels at fighting monsters in groups, he auto-gathered many points. The military personnel are thrilled at their young master's return, while Li Hongwu is fuming mad with Lai Qi and Lai King since they had not returned with the gathered materials. Jizan gathered 746 points, an impressive score. The joint operation record currently stands at 817 points. However, Li Hongwu breathed a sigh of relief and a sinister look since he cheated himself to 813 points, defeating his rival and rubbing it into his face. Zuofan remembers Li Hongwu from a past event that definitely wasn't honorable. Next up is Pandy's turn to give the materials. The personnel freak out when they remember that Pandy is also a strong candidate in the running for first place. Li Hongwu starts suspecting that he didn't hear from the twins because of him. Pandy taunts him, and they exchange a couple of shots. But the true victor is decided through points and not words. Pandy gathered 835 points, taking the first place and breaking the record. A threat escapes from Li Hongwu's sly mouth, but Panda simply calls him simple-minded and urges Zuofan to show him who's boss. The personnel calculate him 810 points. Impressive, but not enough to take first place. But Zuofan has another material he hasn't shown yet. A fang of a D-rank monster king, the Moonblade Steel Fur Wolf King. Everyone is shocked, as that is an existence comparable to a warlord rank monster. The machine appraises the fang and confirms what everyone was murmuring about. Li Hongwu and Jizan can't believe it. Even the military personnel don't really know how many points to award for such a feat. Li Hongwu observes the two like a hawk and is in complete denial. He sees the material that the twins reported to him and figures out what happened to them. He accuses Zuofan of cheating and requesting a military investigation. He even gives orders for him to be captured. The audacity. Zuofan is eager to repay the debt of Li family by starting with him, and he emits a terrifying aura. But the fight is ended before it could even start by a giant crashing spear in the presence of a warlord. Ghost Rain Military Chief Instructor Wei Chenshan, Mercenary Association President Pu Haio, and the Lai family patriarch Li Zong enter the stage, the 3 great warlord masters. The leftover aura on the spear was enough for everyone to retreat. Li Zong recognizes Zuofan and can't believe that the kid is still alive. Li Hongwu addresses Chief Instructor Wei and accuses Zuofan of cheating, demanding an investigation. Chief Instructor Wei agrees that an investigation is required. And just when Li Hongwu thought he had won, Chief Instructor Wei threw a curveball out of left field. They shall investigate everyone to be fair. Zuofan has no objections, and Pandy enjoys the sight of Li Hongwu squirming. Li Zong steps in and apologizes for his arrogant son. He even urges President Pu to side with him and not do an investigation. But he doesn't mess around in other people's territory and leaves the decision to Chief Instructor Wei. Since the decision was left with him, he set a new standard. A D-rank Monster King material is worth 500 points. The new record of the joint operation is a whooping 1,310 points. No one believes a score like this shall ever be passed. Chief Instructor Wei praises Zuofan and invites him to join the military, giving him the rank of a colonel and allowing him to join the elite military program. But President Pu Hao steps in and stops him from poaching his member. Li Zong, as well, congratulates the Mercenary Guild on gaining another genius and invites everyone to a celebration to apologize for his son's behavior and to celebrate the end of this joint operation. Pandy and Jizan suggested that he leave them be and claim his prize. But he obtained his greatest prize, already free passage in and out of the Ghost Rain military base. Now is only the question if he will be able to get the safe deposit box in the base's restricted area that his father had mentioned that contains the truth he so long searched for. And that wraps up the recap of Rise from the Rubble for today. Be sure to let us know if you've liked this video by pressing like and subscribing to our channel, and feel free to check out some of our other videos at Daily Dose of Anime Recaps.